welcome to Pittsburgh Sports Line. We're live on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area. I want to give a shout out to Easy E, Chief, and anybody else that I forgot, whoever's eating. My neighbors, Tiffany and Anna, they watch our show because they said we're pretty funny. So I just got that before I got there. Now, you're also watching us on Comcast 7. I appreciate it. And we do have a sad moment here, and I'm a little bit late because I did post something up. One of our oldest guests, friend of our show, our friend, Mario Tempest's mother passed away today. So I want to take a few seconds just to honor her right now. God bless her and may she rest in peace. And my sympathy from all of us goes to Mario and his family. You know, we've missed them the last couple months while, you know, she's been suffering through this illness and cancer there. So it's a dreaded disease, pancreatic cancer. Now, if you go on Pittsburgh Sports Line, check out the show. I just posted it up. That's why it took me a while to get here. I posted it up in honor of her and Mario. It's our December 23rd show. It was just a great show. Check it out on the 11-minute mark. But don't do it now. Don't change that down. We have a great show for you. I do want to thank everybody officially again for the 3,000 likes. We hit it the same day that Honus Wagner got his 3,000th hit. We also got it when Mario Lemieux first signed for, got drafted by the Penguins on June 9th.
30 years ago.
Exactly. So a few things come up. Honus Wagner was on June 9th, 1914. So that was quite a thing. The synchronicity of the universe. John Nieder told us about that last night. So that's some of the good things we've got happening. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Chip the Prophet Hayner. Smoking Jim Frazier. And Zach Brenner. They're all here. Hey, and we have a new camera. This is a live show, so I understand there's some difficulties with put it on each one of us. And I tried to pause dramatically. Hopefully that works out next time. Maybe later in the show. We also have a new gentleman in the control room. And if there's any errors, I take all the blame for it because Devin and Aaron are away today. And they're not here. And John is filling in. Not John the Tiger Kiger. He's on the camera. We got him. And he's wearing his Batman shirt for Smoking Jim Frazier. And we got George the Ghost Groncy. And I noticed you guys didn't even put yourself on camera. You guys have the cameras, but that's okay. We'll see you guys another time, maybe on your shows. Now we're going to start our show right now with What's on Our Mind. Little Z, Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, what's on my mind? The Buccas. And I never talk about the Buccas, but I feel like after my travels through the city today, I need to just spread some light on some of this before Chip comes up and smashes it out of the ballpark. My thing is, they're pretty excited because Neil Walker got put on a disabled list with, what was it, an appendectomy?
An emergency appendectomy, yes, sir.
Yeah. So he's on the 15-day disabled list, so they called up Polanco, and everybody's so excited about this kid. Well, my thing is, can one kid really turn around the Pirates? Because I told you folks from the beginning that the Buccas were going to regress and take a step back this season because they didn't do enough in the offseason. So I am pretty excited tonight. I will be tuning in when I leave here. I was listening to the beginning of it outside the starting lineup, so I'm kind of getting a little bit of the Bucco fever, but I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet, folks. But my last thing is, I also heard that Garrett Cole got put on the 15-day disabled list with a sore shoulder. We're only how many games into the season? The early part of the season. It's kind of discerning to me whenever our ace has already got a sore shoulder and we're not even a quarter of the way through the season. So that's what's on my mind. I'm excited for Polanco. I'm worried about Garrett Cole, and I'm very sorry to Mario Tempest for losing his mother.
Well, thanks, Zach Brenner. I appreciate it. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
Hey, I got a brand new pen.
How about
you
blue?
got to see
Oh,
Levine.
man, you didn't have hands.
That's right. Thanks.
But hey, I do the show with Heavy Hearts. You know, one of the greatest guests, one of the greatest ladies I ever met was Mario's mom, and what a sports fan and a Steeler fan. And
Sharp as a tack, huh?
And I tell you what, if anybody loved their mom, it was Mario. So
Absolutely.
but what's on my mind is today would be, hey,
What?
you know, in Miami they're calling him Big Shot Bosh now. You know, because since LeBron James is always passing the ball in the last couple of seconds to somebody else. But that's not what's on my mind. What's on my mind is Jason Kidd went immediately from a player to head coach of the new Brooklyn Nets, and he did a good job. Derek Fisher will go from active player to head coach of the New York Knicks, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. And is it time for the NFL to copycat what the NBA is doing? I think Peyton Manning would be an excellent guy to walk right from the football field to a head coaching position, and I think he would be one of the top 5 NFL coaches out there. I think Drew Brees could do the same thing. I know Ray Lewis could be the greatest NFL coach of all time. And,
Can I ask, who did you say?
If anybody could figure out what the hell he's saying.
Ray Lewis, the general, the great leader. But and here's
Did he play football?
Yeah,
Okay.
he'll be.
Sorry to
going,
interrupt again.
He was good with cutlery too.
and I'll be going down to Canton in 4 years when he goes into the Hall of Fame.
Louisiana?
Can't wait for that.
You're going to be wearing a white suit?
Mississippi, sorry.
You're going to be wearing a white suit?
Go to Mississippi.
And I got to invite you guys to my all-white party that's coming up too. Now that you mentioned that, but hey, the reason that you're seeing inferior coaching in the NFL is the system is flawed. First of all, you begin as a defensive back assistant coach to the assistant defensive back coach. And that's what Cornell Lake's going through right now. That lasts about 3 years. Then you get promoted to defensive back coach, which lasts about 3 years.
Mike Tomlin.
Then you might go to a special teams coach, lasts about 3 years. Then maybe do a defensive coordinator for 3 years. So 12 years, and then you finally get a head coaching position. And if you always stay on the defensive side of the football, you really don't know anything about the offensive side of the football. And it's the same way with the offense. They don't know anything about the defense. And so I really believe that in the NFL, that's why you're seeing some of the better guys with head coaching experience from college, like Harbaugh and Pete Carroll. They can come up immediately, win Super Bowls, because they are so far advanced from the flawed system of how you go from the NFL. And some of the great players like Peyton Manning, they would never go through that apprenticeship because they're making $26 million a year now. They're not going to spend that kind of time being a water boy for the other assistant coaches when they could immediately walk into a head coaching position. And that's what's on my mind.
Wow. Jim, that was one of your deepest what's on your minds
was.
ever. Of course, it was scattered a little earlier. You mentioned Ray Lewis, and it distracted me. But we're back now, but thank
I'm
you.
on to you.
Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you, Alan. And, you know, of course, Pittsburgh Pirates, you know, anytime between April and October are always going to be on my mind. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. There'll be plenty of time later on in the show that we'll go into detail about the Pirates.
We have one.
But what's on my mind is 36 years and counting. 36 years and counting, and there's still not another Triple Crown winner. You know, California Chrome fell short this Saturday. And, you know, I like the way the system is. There has been, 10 or 11 Triple Crown? 11 Triple Crown winners in how many years? 130?
Yes.
130 years? I think that's a pretty amazing feat to be able to have a horse that could win the Triple Crown. That being said, not every horse that enters the Kentucky Derby is capable of winning the Triple Crown. And what makes it such a special event is that it really takes a unique set of circumstances, the right breeder, the right trainers, the right horse, the right jockey, the right race strategy. Well, Saturday, California Chrome was the favorite going into the Belmont Stakes. And, the Belmont Stakes is the hardest of the 3 races for the horses to win. It's the longest distance. And, a lot of times the horses just don't have the kick to get it at the end, when they win the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. So, California Chrome does not win the race. And a horse that didn't race in either the Derby or the Preakness ended up winning the race. And what did the owner do? The owner gets on national TV and cries and whines, boo-hoo, the system's flawed, this is a coward's way, and he just made a complete mess out of everything. And I've never seen a sore loser in my life. And, and here's a guy, and he's got this long list of successful horses that he's raced and trained. I never heard of him before, probably never hear of him again. And I think he really gave horse racing a black eye. I don't think the system needs to be changed. The horses that won the Triple Crowns, in which the greatest one that I ever saw was Secretariat. Seattle Slew and Affirmed one in 77 and 78, and not another one since. Like I said, it takes a unique set of circumstances for this to happen. Now, finally, 3 days later, the guy comes out and apologizes to everybody for being a crybaby. They had to take him and throw him out of horse racing and not ever allow him to be on TV again. That was the saddest example of sportsmanship I've ever seen in my life. But that's what's on my mind.
Has there ever been a horse in the Levine stable that could have won the Triple Crown?
Well,
No,
I have
they're
to
in harness
explain. I'll
racing.
explain that to you. There's like a sulky behind those
Difference.
horses.
Yeah.
They
Harness
have a
racing.
Triple Crown of harness racing, and we can go into that another day. But we'll talk some horse racing because Chip makes great points that, as you know, I agree with almost all of them.
Oh.
And sour grapes never are a good thing.
No.
We'll just go to that. We'll come back and talk to that. Let's see. Pirates. Ray Lewis coaching. Those were 2 points.
So what's on your mind?
And horse racing. Man, let me think a minute. I know I had something out there. Penguins.
There you go.
Whoa.
The Penguins delayed. What were they looking at? Bylsma got fired before they hired Rutherford. Is that his name? So how did that happen? How do you fire the coach when you didn't even officially swear in your new guy? I'm starting to wonder that Burkle and Mario, maybe they have a little more control than they're saying. Because you don't do things like that. They always have a class act. They do so many great things in the community with charities. Mario's television screen is legendary. Thousands of people watch the game. Why didn't you just fire Bylsma like we've stated on the show, most of us, and do it the right way? Just clean house like you did. I like some of the moves they made. I like Tocchet coming over here and getting that grittiness that they talk about. So I'm a Penguin fan. They don't have to change much like they were saying. They got to tweak it a little bit. Maybe bring in a few players. Let's see what happens. Let's go Pens. I'm going to be positive about that, even though it was terrible to do business like that. And that's what's on my mind. All right, let's revisit what's on our minds. So I'll
Let's
let
go
you
to
guys go
Let's
because you're
go
going
to
to
the
steal.
horse. Let's go to the horse racing. Because Al Levine got the horse racing in the stable. Don't you feel though? My feeling is this:
All right.
if you should have to run all 3 races. If you run the Kentucky Derby, you got to run the Preakness and you got to run the Belmont. In order to win the Triple Crown, you should have to enter and race in all 3 races, obviously. But they should have to. You shouldn't be allowed to run a fresh horse in the last race after the other horses ran the other 2. Which horse did you go to see it? I don't have to go to Carnegie Mellon for physics. Which horse is going to be fresher?
That being said, Zach, there was only 4 horses in the race in the Belmont that ran in the Derby. So what are you going to do? Have a race and have millions of people watch it and get television revenue and have people come and bet on it to watch 4 horses run a race?
No,
That's
it's going to
ridiculous.
force the other Levine.
Well,
it's going to force the other trainers.
Here's what used to happen. They didn't play games like that, but they changed the rules. Part of what Chip's saying. Because when you get TV in the sports, look at with baseball. Look at football. Is the game like it was when it first started out? No.
No.
Do I agree that they should do it like this? No, because I'm a purist on a lot of things like baseball
Yes.
and other things, football too, and even with horse racing. To race thoroughbreds, 3 times in 5 weeks. It takes a heck of a horse, a hell of a horse, to be able to do that and compete. That's why even before they changed this, you only had 8 winners in the history of the Triple Crown in horse racing. You had 3 during the 70s, and then that's it. So 11 in the start of all this, so they changed it. Because why? Horses take a beating. They're athletes, but they are animals. You got to have some compassion, and it's a dangerous sport. So that's one of the reasons is safety. But the gamesmanship, the owners know going in. And these horses get the best care in the world. They put them on planes. They put them in air-conditioned stalls. They got a life better than some of us on certain days. And if you're a purist and they want to change it back, I'm all for it. The problem I have with any owner, and I've been a horse owner, and we hate to lose. Who doesn't?
Yeah, and I mean,
right? Because it costs the same for a good horse or a bad horse.
Nobody likes to lose.
Right, and millions are on the line. Now, the owner that was complaining, I think he isn't a classy guy. He was doing PR for this horse the whole time. The horse didn't need any PR. The guy that I respect is the other owner. He researched the breeding. He went out and bred this horse. They didn't come in with a lot of money. They're like us. And this guy thought he was something else. Now he apologized later. To me, it doesn't mean a thing. The horse did the best he could. He actually got hurt. I thought it was a bad drive. I told you guys on the show it's a tactical race.
Yes, you did.
And I even posted on Facebook, when you have a slow half, and guys that are experts and smarter than I am, they know if you have a horse that's normally on the front end, he's a little more hot than another horse. It means he likes to go. And some of them are handy. You can hold them back a little. And they did. But the problem is he saw a slow quarter. Most guys will try to get out. Think about it. It's about 1.5 miles for that race. The first quarter you take out, you have a regular Kentucky Derby race. Let your horse go. I was watching the screen and I said, pull that horse out. He's in position. He's not blocked in yet. They could have a wall there. Just go. Then he's at the half, a 48-second half. That's slow. Just go. And I know it rhymes, but that's what you do. These guys have stopwatches. They know everything. The jockeys from the meadows and everything, they're experts. They can even tell you the times when they're hitting those poles. So go. Now, if the horse was actually hurt, because he did hurt his hoof. So, I mean, say that. But don't go out and say that it's not fair, everybody should be in there in this day and age, because the rules change. Look at football. If Mel Blunt's playing football today, what kind of player is he today? Probably still a superstar.
Suspended frequently.
The best of all time again.
Right, he would be, but it wouldn't be under the same rules where he threw guys down at the line.
Good point.
My point is, I saw him. Here was a guy going, just like in a horse race. You got these great horses bred for that speed, early speed. Not all of them develop at 2 years old,
Well,
3
you
years
know,
old,
and-
right?
and speaking
So I
to
mean,
your
that's
point-
part of it. Sorry to go off on a
Is
tangent
that how
here.
old the horses are in the
Yeah,
in
they're
the Triple
3-year-old.
Crown?
3-year-old horses. But
Three-year-olds.
I'm saying as a 2-year-old, when they develop, you'll see they race 3 or 4 races because you can't pound the horses. Now you're doing 3 races in 5 weeks. For thoroughbreds, that's pretty tough.
But see, here's the thing that really kind of got the hair standing up on the back of my neck with the way this owner was going on, saying how it was a coward's way, and
Oh, you don't say
and that the rules need to change. You know, there wasn't a Triple Crown winner in baseball from 1968 until 2012. That makes it, when somebody achieves that feat, it makes it unique, it makes it special. You don't need a Triple Crown winner. Yeah, it's great for PR and it's great, for marketing, but you know what? It's something unique and special, and some people don't even see that in their lifetime. We've been fortunate enough to see 3 in ours. And I mean, so why, nobody's batted 400 in a season in Major League Baseball since 1941. So what should we do? Change the rules so that everybody hits 400? No, that's a unique, special thing. And, and if it happens again, great. That will be something that's really, about the
I don't know nothing about horse racing, but the Lone Ranger never had no problem with his horse.
Yes,
5
he did.
weeks, 3 races in 5 weeks. Listen, either you can do it or you can't do it. I know it's hard. I mean, there's all these horses, like you said, they're thoroughbreds. They're outstanding horses. He come up a little bit short. He still ran a pretty good race. Like Al Levine said that, when it was a slow half, But, these thoroughbreds, everybody's making, these horse owners making all kind of excuses. I don't go for the excuses. Either get it done or you don't. If there was a Mount Rushmore, like I said last night, for excuses, California Chrome, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, and Peyton Manning would be on it.
No. California Chrome has never spoken on this.
He didn't eat enough sugar. That's why he got beat in the belt.
They don't feed him sugar there, buddy. They feed him better than what you're eating right now.
Mount Rushmore.
LeBron James is going for a three-peat. How many times has that been done?
It's never been done in Cleveland. That's where he should be. Never been done in Cleveland.
He makes some great points.
If he's ever won one in Cleveland, I'd give him credit. But until then, he's Dr. J, who would have won 8 in a row if he could have left Philadelphia.
All right, let's get back to your coaching theory
Sorry
here. Forget that horse stuff and the Mount Rushmore. You can't bring it up 2 nights in a row there. I got to rebut that, but I'm not. Go watch the show. I'll post it up later. Dave Cable got it done, so we can get it out. And
Dave Cable's on a roll.
Yeah, just to let you know, since we're talking a little bit of this, can you guys, who's getting a close-up here? John the Tiger? This
Saturday
is MMA
night.
fight Saturday night. Don't miss it. Gates open at 6 o'clock. Pittsburgh Sportsline will be there. And it's going to be a great night of MMA fights. We had the ring announcer, Dan Bogan. Dan, you're on triple secret probation right now for limiting the time of the 2 fighters that took their time to come out of their training. They're fighting this week. Dan Kakata and John Rurick. We owe you a show to come back to. You can have more than a minute next time. Dan, you're going to get 3 minutes. That's it. You can announce them, though. And it was just great having everybody there. That'll be in the SIPS part, but I wanted to bring that up. And let me bring up this Pittsburgh Sportsline will be on the road. Enigma on 7. That's 7th Street, downtown Pittsburgh. On Thursday night, June 26th, we do a half-hour mini show. If you like this, Enigma on 7. Can you say that, Smoking Jim?
3 times
Smoking
fast.
Jim, man, you're good, man. You're going to blend right in.
I'll tell you what, he's been there. Smoking Jim was already a star in Enigma. So he's unbelievable. Come there, see the show. They'll have drink specials, food specials. You get to hear Jessica Lee and her musicians play. Smoking Jim's fantastic on that night. He doesn't even need a mic. All right, anything else on Revisit?
No.
What's on your mind?
I got one more thing I just wanted to get Smoking Jim Frazier's opinion on. Right now, I didn't realize that there was an NFL grievance going on with Jimmy Graham and the NFL Players Association, where they're trying to say that he's a wide receiver so that he's not designated as a tight end for salary cap reasons for the franchise tag. So my feeling is he is a tight end, so he should be franchise tagged as a tight end. So just because he might go, split out as Gronkowski. Gronkowski was used similarly sometimes where he would just come off the line and play at wide receiver. So is he a wide receiver and not a tight end?
Well, I think it's like a horse race. They're either a thoroughbred or they're a standard bred.
Well,
if the rules are thoroughbred, play like a thoroughbred.
He came in as a tight end. Now all of a sudden it's not financially reasonable so he wants to change. Where were you complaining about it when you got drafted on the team as a tight end?
It's like a $4 million difference.
Yeah. There's no doubt it should be just one way, tight end.
Yeah.
You can call him anything you want, but he's a tight end. Unless you're a GM like Smoking Jim Frazier. Then he would rule on that one.
Only thing that could help Jimmy Graham is Billy Graham.
Oh, I love Reverend Billy Graham.
Other than that, he's a tight end.
We're covering everything. All right, that's it for Revisitation. Plus, maybe I don't think we have NFL. I didn't see NFL here. We got a lot to cover. We even have NASCAR coming up for you.
Oh, yes.
And then we got Z Time, too. So maybe that'll help. Just try to ponder. Hold your thought there, if you can. At Sips Sports Bar last night, had a great show. I had the best hamburger I had in a long time. That was a great hamburger. Meatball hoagies will be back in another week because Smoking Jim only had it a week ago. So wait till
he had 2 of them.
It's aged. Wait till it gets aged a little bit, so we'll be okay. Check out Pittsburgh Sportsline at 7:30-ish. maybe 7:45 every Monday night.
8 o'clock.
A lot of great guests. Try to beat 8 o'clock. And they have specials on Wednesday night, Tuesday night. Shout out to the Campides, 50 cents a slice. They get entertainment on Friday and Saturday, free parking all around. They have lunch hour on Friday and Saturday also. Check it out. Nice place to visit. And if you can make it to Enigma Smoking Jim, June 26th, July 17th, and August 21st, I think it is.
Wait a
July
second. We're
17th
going there
is my
3
birthday.
times?
Yeah.
We're going to Enigma 3 times?
Yes.
I'll be there on my birthday, July
So
17th.
put that on your schedules.
Come on, I want to check.
There we go. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, can't
Now we
wait
go
to-
to one of my favorite segments, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Oh, it's a young LeBron.
And here's a little, I don't know if that's a little Z's kid or not, but
Smoking Jim, he sort of resembles you. He got those Urkel pants. He got Urkel pants.
Hey, all he's missing is the glasses.
Can anybody get this?
Oh, man.
Smoking Jim's
Oh,
young child.
He's taking pictures
basketball
from
star.
Cambodia.
Folks, you never know what you'll see here.
Angela Jolie will adopt him.
All money you want to donate for that, donate to in courtesy of BC.
Smoking Jim, I didn't know you joined this organization. I'm What's Next.
Yeah, that's it, brother. I'm always
Thanks for
joining-
helping out there. Now,
I'm always joining us up, man.
now
But,
what's this Fiction and Fact we're waiting for?
Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac, and I tell you what, it's a heavy heart day. I tell you what, so we might as well continue it. Born on May 28th, 1964, died on July 5th, 2005. One of my best friends, Armin the Hammer Gillian, and I tell you what, we had planned to do a TV show the Wednesday, the day after he died, so I was totally shocked when he passed away. But I tell you what, this was a guy who was 6'9". In 1987, Lil Z, he was the second player picked overall in the entire NBA draft.
Where's he from? Where's he from?
He's from Western Pennsylvania.
Bethel Park, I thought.
Even I knew it was from Bethel Park. Come on, we're in Bethel Park's TV studio. Don't take that away from them.
He was as a rookie, he was an NBA first team all rookie team. He was the Big West Conference Player of the Year. Scored 13,000 career NBA points, 7,000 career rebounds, 1,000 assists. At UNLV, his 3-year record was 93-11. He was voted to the NCAA Final Four All-Tournament team. He scored 998 points in one season, still a UNLV record for one season. His team won 38 games, which is still an NCAA record for most wins in one season. And UNLV retired his number, and he's also been inducted into the Bethel Park High School Hall of Fame. And that's what's on my mind.
Was he coached by
Fiction and
Tarkanian,
Facts.
or was that?
Yeah,
was that-
Tarkanian
was
came
he?
to the funeral. Yeah, Tarkanian
Tart
came to
Tart
the funeral.
Fichard.
That's one of my
I was
favorite
supposed to
college
pick-
coaches.
I was supposed to pick him up at the airport.
What happened?
I just couldn't do it.
Were you running late?
Huh?
Were you running late?
I couldn't get a jitney.
Couldn't get directions.
Couldn't get a jitney.
Yeah, it's tough getting out that way.
He got lost down
He was at
there.
that, he was at that white party.
He got lost down there, Cal U.
Yeah, again. And that's our little comedic break.
I'm taking Chip's chair to the white party.
I can't wait to hear about that party in a couple minutes.
You'll be there.
I don't even know about it. Now,
hors d'oeuvres.
another favorite segment of mine is Chip's Trivia Time. What do you have, Chip?
Oh, I got a bunch of baseball trivia again. What a big surprise there. But to add to what Alan had posted on Facebook and mentioned earlier tonight, it's June the 9th, 1914. Honus Wagner did get his 3,000th career base hit. He was also the first Major League Baseball player in history to get 3,000 hits. So he's the first one in the 3,000 hit club, Carnegie's own. And there's a statue of him outside of Heinz Field. if anybody wants to get on and take a look.
Hinesfield?
PNC Park. I stand corrected.
I was gonna be like, well, what an honor.
Okay. No, so June the 10th, quite a number of interesting things happened in baseball on June the 10th throughout history. June the 10th, 1972, Hank Aaron, the home run king, hit a grand slam home run, which happened to be his 649th home run, which moved him past Willie Mays into number 2 on the list behind the Babe. Also, on June the 10th, 1921, Babe Ruth became baseball's career home run leader by hitting his 120th home run.
Wow.
And that is a record that he maintained until the next home run king passed him, Hammer and Hank Aaron. So he held that honor for over 50 years. That's an amazing feat when you think about how many people have played the game. June the 10th, 2005 was the first time ever in Major League Baseball history that 3 ball players in the 500 home run club played in the same game. Baltimore Orioles had Sammy Sosa, who had 580 career home runs, and Rafael Palmeiro, who had 559 at the time. And they were playing against the Seattle Mariners, and Ken Griffey Jr. had 511 home runs at that time. Also on June the 10th, 2008, Ken Griffey Jr. hit his 600th career home run. And Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the home run hitters from the steroid era that will end up going into the Hall of Fame because he was never caught up in any of the controversy surrounding PEDs. I know a long time ago when Stan Musial passed, I had talked about his consistency, and he had been the hit leader for the National League for years and years and years until June the 10th, 1981, when Pete Rose tied him by getting his 3,630th base hit.
My favorite player.
And the thing that I found so interesting about Stan Musial was a switch hitter. And he had 1,815 hits from the right side of the plate and 1,815 hits from the left side of the plate. And to me, that just about sums up the epitome of consistency in baseball.
Can't get better than that.
No, you can't. Also, and this is a statistic that I found kind of interesting, on June the 10th, 2008, besides Ken Griffey Jr. hitting his 600th home run, Greg Maddux pitched against Clayton Kershaw. Now, what was the significance of this? Greg Maddux at the time was 42 years old and Clayton Kershaw was 20. This was the largest gap in career wins between starting pitchers since August the 25th, 1965, when San Francisco's Warren Spahn, with 361 wins, pitched against the Mets' Darryl Sutherland, who had 1. So
Wow.
That's a difference.
that is a difference. And Greg Maddux at the time, when he pitched against Clayton Kershaw, 351 wins, and Clayton Kershaw had not yet had his first. The thing that I found the most interesting of this is that Greg Maddux was in the second year of his baseball career, and he was in the process of winning 18 games in his second season, the year that Clayton Kershaw was born.
Wow.
And Greg Maddux will be enshrined at Cooperstown this summer, very shortly, and a well-deserved.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what's
Great pitcher.
that's my trivia for this week.
Great trivia. Thanks.
So, Chip, will you be joining me at the Pirate game on Thursday? I'll be going down.
Which 3 innings are you going to be there?
He only reserved 2 innings this game, just so you know.
If you ever go to a fight with him, if you ever go to
He
a
showed
fight,
up at the 4th and he left in the 7th.
if you ever go to a fight with him, he's gonna disappear before the best fights of the night too. So
And
be
Chip,
prepared.
the worst part about it is he didn't know the T went to the stadium, to PNC. He almost got lost.
He would have had to go before. But
He didn't even know there was a
Jim's
baseball
going to get to
stadium.
go see, the Pirates' latest and greatest new thing, and we'll talk about him, I'm sure, after we get through Z-Time.
Yeah, we have a few choices. Yeah. All right, let's see what's on Z-Time here.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what's on Z Time.
All right.
Hey, Al Levine's on Z Time. Hey, what's up? Hey, this is Z Time with Al Levine, the talking machine.
Here's what Z's thinking.
Look at that there.
Enigma
Look at
on
that
7. Z's thinking
to
Enigma on
Zazu.
7.
Mariana de Zazu for that great
Thanks
dude.
for that cut.
Look at that complexion from that coconut oil and that green tea.
Oh,
Oh, there I am. Oh. How
Oh,
you doing, folks?
What's on Z Time?
Well, what's on
You
Z Time
changed.
is I've been taking a lot of ribbing for King LeBron James from my colleague to my right, Smoking
Vanilla
Jim
Ice.
Frazier. Hey, Ice Ice baby. But that's neither here nor there. LeBron James is on a quest to do what many haven't done, and it doesn't matter where he had to go because some of the all-time greats have also left and gone to other places and won championships where they couldn't get it done in certain cities like Cleveland. Not too many champions have ever came out of Cleveland. So let's
You need some
reserve
green tea, my friend.
let's reserve our opinions on LeBron James's career in Cleveland because he did take them to the finals and he did come up short in Cleveland, but he didn't have all the pieces, and that's kind of like, switching over to the Penguins. They don't have all the pieces right now either, and like Al Levine lamented earlier, I felt like Dan Bylsma should have been fired immediately following that Rangers game. That would have been the perfect time to fire him and tell him to leave, and then he could have got started with his analyst career a couple games sooner than later. And that's all for Z Time. Watch LeBron James.
Some great points, see? I missed that first segment that you were showing there with that card that you had.
Jessica Lee, she's always on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Nice family show here.
It is.
I got a choice. We covered NBA, NHL. We got Pens, Pirates. Let's pick the Pirates here, since we
Good job.
got a debut of Polanco, and we've heard about that. So we might as well get right into it. One player can change the whole complexion of a season, Smoking Jim. I just wanted you to know that. This could be that guy.
There was
What
a
do you
player
think,
that looked
Jim?
like your brother for the Dodgers.
Here's what my thoughts are about Gregory Polanco, and I'm very happy to see that the Pirates have brought him up. Okay, it's a shame that Neil Walker had to have emergency surgery because
Yeah.
Neil Walker's probably having his best season to date. And thinking about Gregory Polanco, and then of course the expectations are for him to be able to walk across the rivers. I'm sure that he's just a human being. He's a young man, and he's a very, very good ball player. Is he, the missing quote unquote link for the Pirates? I don't think so. I think he's just going to become another very good ball player on a good baseball team. The kid is going to. He's going to be overwhelmed by everything at the beginning. I'm interested to see how he handles everything. He's so far he's handled everything very well in AAA. And the Pirates have already are in the process of making a turnaround from where they started the season at. Players are starting to produce. Their offense is in the upper half of the league right now. They're still struggling with the pitching staff. Garrett Cole. Being laid up. The fortunate thing about his injury is that there's no structural damage in his shoulder. They're calling it fatigue. And what's the difference between the way Garrett Cole pitched this year as opposed to last year is that he's thrown a lot more pitches this year. It doesn't seem to be as efficient. So they're giving him some rest, rehab that shoulder a little bit before something really bad happens. Hopefully, to be honest with you, I'd rather have him lost now for a few weeks than, say, in a stretch drive in August or September. Charlie Morton pitched the best game of his season last year through 82 pitches in 7 innings, 59 of them for strikes. He didn't walk one batter, which has been a problem for him. He had guys swinging at his curveball for strikes. His sinker was sinking well. Guys were beating the ball into the ground. Charlie Morton needs to have about 7 or 8 more starts like the one he had last night. Francisco Liriano, he has been somebody that's severely underachieved. We need to see a little bit more consistency with him. One of Liriano's biggest problems to date this year is he's walking way too many batters. He pitched a game last week. He had a one-hitter, and we lost the game because he walked 6 or 7 batters. That's all it takes is you get people in scoring position. Anything can happen. I really would have loved to have been able to watch, Polanco's first at bat, and I'm sure it'll be replayed over and over again. And I'll be all over the game as soon as we get out of here. But he can create a buzz for the team. Is he going to be the difference maker? Time will tell. To be honest with you, from what I've been hearing, had Will Walker not got hurt, they might not have brought him up for another 2 or 3 weeks because the team has been performing very well. Josh Harrison has been playing way over his normal performance for the last month. It's kind of hard to put him on the bench, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when Neil Walker comes back, because now you've got Jose Tabata and you've got Travis Snyder. Which one of those two are going to be disposable? Which one of those two are going to become trade bait? Maybe they could package one of them and a prospect or two to get another starting pitcher. We certainly can't use the help. Brought up Jeff Locke on Sunday. He pitched a great game. I mean, I tell you what, this kid pitched every bit as well as he pitched last year. Sunday's game, the umpires gave it to the
They had that loose strike zone, which I don't like. I don't like a flexible strike zone. When you play the ball, game, have it at a certain limit there. Now, some pitches were out here, there, down below, all around.
There was no consistency.
And that's a bad way. It's nice if we're going your way, and that's sort of why Russell Martin and
can I ask
Myrtle
you,
got thrown out.
purists of the game?
Yeah.
You're telling me by this day and age, we haven't came in the technology era where we have something that can determine if the ball goes right over the plate or not, or
No,
it goes
not
outside
yet.
this.
Not yet.
We haven't
don't
developed
have
the
that.
technology.
We have satellites that can
We
do
know
that,
how
but
fast
not
the ball.
umpires.
We know everything, but we can't figure out the strike zone and keep
Because
it
the
consistent. It's
strike
human
zone
error.
varies from batter to batter, and it also varies from ump to ump. So I mean, it's a thing that's in flux. But some of the things that even bothered me more than the strike zone on Sunday, and I was at all 3 games this weekend. And Friday night we beat the snot out of the Brewers, and Saturday night we took it on the nose from the Brewers. Sunday's game, the Pirates in reality should have won that game. I think the umps blew the call because there's this new rule in baseball which I think is a bunch of BS. It's the obstruction rule for the catcher, and they reviewed the play even though it wasn't a challenge, and to me, that was the picture of obstruction. The catcher blocked the runner's path to the plate.
Sure.
You're not supposed to be able to do that. But when you watch the replay, it wasn't the obstruction issue. It was the fact that Neil Walker got in under the tag, and he should have been safe. Right. So, that right there was a big difference in the game. And it just...
And that sounds like another game where one player could have made the difference in that game. And you're excited about where the Pirates are going. Like I said, before the season, I had heavy money in Vegas on 84 and under with the Pirates, and I'm still feeling comfortable about my wager. Your best players now on the operating table, all your pitchers got dead arms right now, and you're excited about the Pirates. But the one thing I can say about baseball is there's a lot of close games, and that's where this new young superstar is going to come into play, because that is one game where one player can make a difference.
And where can Neil Walker be moved to if he comes back?
Neil Walker's your starting second baseman. He's the best.
He ain't coming back from that.
3 weeks.
He ain't coming
Smoking
back from
Jim,
that.
3 weeks.
No way.
Neil Walker is the second baseman and will remain the second baseman. And as a matter of fact, he should be the starting second baseman in the All-Star game this year.
Vote early, vote often.
I agree.
Get your Pirates in.
Right
now,
now,
you got the Pirate hat. You're on the bandwagon.
Pine Richland.
But
Now you're beating Chip up about not being excited.
To speak to Jim's point,
You got the hat on.
and I'm telling you, you listen to all the baseball
You didn't know that
experts,
was for
and here's just when it makes sure that you guys understand something. This is not a baseball expert. Okay.
He's wearing a Pirate hat. What do you mean?
Okay, but
an
all
amazing
of the baseball
scout of talent.
experts. I was listening to Jim Leland, an interview with Jim Leland last week, and he says the biggest mistake anybody could make would be to count this Pirate team out, because they are a good baseball team, and they are going to be there at the end of the season. Because remember, baseball season is a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, I tell you what, I hate when Jim Leland, that's my favorite manager, but I hate when he says stuff like that because it comes true. Last year, he said he wouldn't be surprised if the Pirates went to the World Series, and they had a great season last year. He said that he was ahead of the curve.
Hold it. He's like you. You say all these things that we think are crazy.
But see, he's a baseball expert.
Yeah.
And then some of them come true. You know the Pirates didn't get to the World Series.
Yeah.
Okay, and
yeah.
Leyland was wrong.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm just checking with
But,
you because
yeah.
when you make your outstanding statements like heavy money in Vegas on this stuff,
But the next-
What about Marte though? I mean, they got to brought in like
You
a
gotta
witch
come out of that
doctor
funk.
to try to get him.
Well,
like
and
major
here's the
leagues.
problem with Marte is they are working on trying to get his head screwed on straight again. The kid is an amazingly talented ball player. He's fast. He's got a great arm. He can hit. Why he's swinging at pitches in the dirt and pitches that are in the other batter's box, I don't know. He didn't come up starting doing that.
Chip, I got the answer. It's sort of silly, but Marte, Smoking Jim, Partey. You get money like he did at a young age.
guaranteed contract.
We were all young. Z's, the youngest one, just turned 30. So he just crossed over to that old age thing. But, Chip, I think some of it is you wonder why. Maybe you don't have that attitude. And we've seen it in other ball players. Now, what will the coaches do? That's part of the question. They've sat him down. They've been talking to him. One game, one batter. He doesn't swing at a pitch, and he walks.
And then last night,
Right?
He
So-
caught in a rundown that was unnecessary.
last night he had a great game.
And that's my point. He has that inconsistency, which he had before, but now he got the money. Think he's set for life now. When he first started out, it was his first year, basically. He was not.
And
Now, some people, it affects them.
That's a great point, Al. But I think the lesson that he's learning is as quickly as he had it all in his hand. That's how quickly you can lose it if you lose focus on what you're doing. And and he just has to remember, he has the skills to make it to the major leagues. The game doesn't change when you get here. Everything that goes on outside of the game does, but you're a good enough baseball player to get here. Just do the things that got you here, and you'll stay, and you'll be
Well,
successful.
hopefully the people around him will be able to get him to rally back to at least somewhat of how he played last year. Because he was streaky at times, and he does love to swing at anything. Manny Sanguillen did it for a career.
Yep,
And we
yep.
were frustrated then. There
Yeah,
were people
yeah.
that say, what are you letting him bat up? He walked 3 times all year. But
Yeah.
he'd get that hit because he'd hit a ball off the ground. They'd almost bounce, and he'd hit one out.
But,
So, I mean, God bless him.
To be honest with you, I think part of the problem may have been is that the pressure of being the leadoff hitter. The tremendous amount of pressure comes with that, and because he's the fastest guy on the team, he was the obvious choice to try it. But he's never has been, and he never will be a leadoff hitter. No, I wouldn't. McCutchen is not your leadoff hitter. No, I mean, McCutchen.
Put him in 4th right now.
I
Put him clean.
would either do one of two things: keep McCutchen at 3rd, or move McCutchen up to 2nd. Because you want to keep him in the top 3 spots in the lineup, because over the course of a game, there's a better chance that he'll get 5 at-bats as opposed to 4 at-bats. And if you got Andrew McCutchen up an extra time a game, there's a better chance of him doing something than not. I've always liked Neil Walker as a number 2 hitter. They put in Gregory Polanco in there tonight. Josh Harrison has been doing good as a leadoff hitter for the last 3 or 4 weeks. But that's what the Pirates need, is they need somebody with a very high on-base percentage, somebody that's going to get on base, because, you get somebody on base, then you've got McCutchen, you've got Walker, who's driving in a lot of runs this year. That's where everything sparks.
Somebody's going to get Wally Pipp tonight.
Not
Could be.
My
necessarily.
man's in the lineup.
Yeah, but what
He's
you're
in the
what
lineup.
forgetting, he's not replacing Neil Walker.
He's going to play somebody.
Yeah,
Somebody
but
get
Well,
they
paid.
don't have anybody in right field. It's a platoon.
Well,
So
and,
he
and-
can replace
and-
either guy.
And I'll tell you what, right
They
now,
don't have the caliber of Major League written all over.
Somebody going home.
right now,
They will.
you look at the starting outfield for the Pirates tonight with Marte in left, McCutchen in center, Polanco in right. That may be the fastest outfield in baseball. And just having those 3 in the outfield, far fewer balls are going to hit the ground. It will save a lot of runs.
I know Marte is going for the fastest
Whoa.
strikeout record for the season. Yeah.
You've been studying
That's-
baseball.
there's a-
So what?
there's a-
since you put the
so
pirate hat
Polanco's
on.
playing in right field tonight.
Yes,
he
sir.
is.
So who's the second baseman with no Walker?
Josh Harrison.
Jay Hay.
Ooh.
Josh Harrison. Josh
He
Harrison
can play all kind of
is a
positions.
utility.
He can pitch.
He can play second.
They've actually tried him out in practice at shortstop, but
So-
second and third base he's played.
And Smoking Jim, hold on to your seat. He actually pitched in a game.
The little brother.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Was this the plan from the beginning though? Was the timetable for Polanco coming up, or was because how does Neil Walker at second base having having that procedure affect the right fielder getting called up? I would have thought that the second
Because the
baseman
guy
might have
that's
got
playing
called up.
right field that's hot,
Yeah.
okay, who they don't want to take out of the lineup, also has the ability to play second base. That's what made them pull the trigger now. See, to be honest with you, everything else aside, what they really wanted to make sure before they brought Gregory Polanco up is that he really is truly ready, because they want to bring him up and they want to keep him here. I think it does more damage to a player to bring him up and watch him fall on his face and get sent back down to bring him back up than to bring him up and to see a measure of
Was
success.
Bill Walker, did he sign a long-term contract with the Pirates?
No,
He
he's
could
still
be
more,
part-
still 2 more years
He
of
could be-
arbitration eligible.
He could be part of a white-collar crime with the Pirates. It don't look
White
good.
collar. I'm
It
noticing
don't
a
look
theme
good.
here now,
It
Smoking
don't look
Jim.
good.
Well, that's our pirate talk. Hopefully, we get an update on Polanco. If anybody in the control room can
That's a
tell
perfect
us
segue to
what's going
NASCAR.
on. You know what? I have it on the list here.
Is that next card?
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt.
No, we've had a debate on our show whether that's a sport or not.
It's not.
And
It is.
my sister Hope and my brother-in-law Gary always told me it's a sport, and they
It
would
is.
travel all over the country. So,
It is.
with that, no further ado, little Z, what happened on this last race with somebody named Junior?
Oh, well, for the second time this season, for the first time since I wasn't there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. scored a victory at Pocono Raceway this Sunday afternoon. So that's his second win in the season. I couldn't tell you.
Did
when
they
he had
drink
2
milk?
wins.
Did they drink milk, or was that Mountain
And,
Dew?
and,
No,
what,
no.
and what is the unique thing about the track at Pocono?
The configuration of the track.
It's
that
not
makes
an
a
oval,
difference.
it's a triangle.
Correct.
Oh, I thought it was a figure 8.
But like I said, onward and upward. We're in the chase under the new format. All you had to win was 1 race of the season to qualify for chase for the championship. So we've won 2 races now already so far this young season, and I was at the biggest one, the first one of the year that we won. So 2 wins for Junior, and we're looking good right now for this season.
Question for you. Now I know that going into this race, that Jimmy Johnson was in the lead for the points. What did winning this race do to Junior, or where did that
It
move
took
him up to?
It moved him up to 3rd now.
Okay.
He's in 3rd place now.
And
He
now,
was in 6th.
this year, it's the top 12 spots that make the chase. Did they add 2 wild cards so that there's like 13 and 14?
Yeah, there's 13
More
and 14.
excitement for the boys and girls.
No, I like the extra wild card thing. What do you think got the Pirates into the playoffs?
Hey,
Well,
man,
but the
you
problem
know?
with the wild card thing is last year there was all kinds of turmoil with it, because going into the last race of the season, everybody knew what needed to be done, and guys are purposely spinning out and doing, So
Not
there was
on
all,
teams. Teammates wouldn't do that for others in that pure sport like that.
Yeah.
Would they?
Yep. So people.
You don't think they block people and everything else during
so
races
they-
either?
Yeah, they had to change it a little bit because guys were purposely doing some things to qualify. And the
Good
the
old
teammates
days when Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison would fist fight in the victory lane.
And King Richard Petty, don't forget about him there. There were some
You know,
tough
and to
guys.
speak to King Richard Petty, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Richard Petty is they called him the king because in his career he won over 200 races. Now, the guys that are racing today, they talk about the level of their success, and people like Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, I think they've only won somewhere in the 70s or maybe in the low 80s. And here's a guy. Do you imagine how he dominated his sport to win 200 races? He would win like 7 or 8 races every year.
But
That's the
little
real
Z's, no, the real king came out of another part of North Carolina, and that's Dale Earnhardt, the intimidator. The king will tell you to your face that you didn't want to be in front of the intimidator going into the end of the race, no how, no way. They're both tied in NASCAR for 7 championships all time, and my driver didn't have to win as many races to get his 7 championships as the king did, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, the King's
and
one
my
of the
guy
founders,
started.
though.
My guy started later than the king too, and he died. So who only knows how many more races he would have won, or what more he could have done if he wouldn't have passed early. So, hey, some call him the king, but I say that the real king is the intimidator.
Well, that's what opinions are for on this show. Just like the King, I don't think your boy Dale Sr. could compare with him. He was mean and he was tough, but he spun out and cost himself a lot of races too. I watched a lot of the sport then. So he didn't win everything that he was in either. So
Hey, neither did the King. But I tell you what,
He
you know,
won
even
more
to this
than-
day,
he won
even to
more
this
than
day, the King
anybody
has a
against
lot.
when they were founding it and when they started all this. When the pay
Back
wasn't
when
there
they used to
It
race
was
on dirt tracks. The
And
Daytona
moonshine was in the back.
the Daytona 500 used to be run on the beach.
Really?
Yeah, it's a hard.
Yes, it was.
Yep,
I've driven on that beach. It's a nice beach.
it is a nice beach. As I
Definitely.
saw in February.
See, we cover a few different things.
See that?
there from the
I
beach.
do know a little bit about the history of one of your favorite sports, Zach. I dabble in a little bit of everything.
I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah. Oh, he's an expert. He'll tell you. He wagered
He knows
heavy,
about white lightning.
He wagered
Yeah,
heavy
he
money
does.
about Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, he does.
He knows that white lightning. I want to hear this. What about this white party? I can't hold out any longer. I'm invited to a party I didn't even hear about.
We'll save it for next week. We'll save that for
Tune in
next
I
next
week.
week.
can't
We'll
take-
hear about
Well,
Jim
since we're
Frazier
going to wait for
and
next
the white
week,
party. There's going to be a white party at Stage AE on the North Shore this Saturday night with Pittsburgh Sportsline with no Jim Frazier. So come on down to the North Shore and visit the Bean.
we don't see any color there. We see all kind of. If you're an alien and you're green and you're watching this millions of miles away, come to MMA fighting. You can sit with Pittsburgh Sportsline
Hey,
there.
when's Enigma?
That is June 26th.
June 26th, Jim
Hey,
Frazier.
you know
Come
what?
on down.
Hey, I
To
just
Enigma.
wanted did you hear the Steelers signed a Cal U grad, wide receiver?
Yeah, thanks to Mel Blunt. He
Yeah.
didn't even start for Cal.
Yeah,
last year.
what do you think of him, though? Is he
Got
the
a lot of
future Hall of Famer?
He got a lot
Thank
of
you.
talent. He got a lot of talent. Raw talent.
Hey, I appreciate the camera on me while they were talking.
Hey,
there.
it's
How you
always
guys
the
doing
best.
there?
I've been talking a lot with you.
Definitely. Hey, Jim, we did this boxing match. It was some history in the Hill District. You
Chicken
wanna-
on the hill with Will.
Well, we didn't have any of that chicken on the hill, but we were in a great, brand new YMCA.
And I tell you what, they treated us like royalty there. It was great amateur boxing. Few local fighters. Most of the fighters came from out of different states. And I tell you what, it's always a pleasure calling the blow by blows with Al Levine, the Taka Machine.
Oh, thank
And I tell you what, it was great on the Hill District. It was 95% African American. Everybody came out, had a good time. Everybody was treated well. Everybody was safe. It was an afternoon event.
They started at 11 o'clock a.m.
Yeah, they started
No,
very
the fight
early.
started at 1,
At
but they actually didn't start. Smoking Jim has a little saying, and they started about 10 to 2.
no CP time.
Hey, they
But
was
they
out
had-
there before the sun went down.
But they had the kids there. They had the DJ rocking. They had great food there. And Channel 4 News came to an event that was 95% African American. And they interviewed Al Levine, the Taka Machine, and Spatafor.
Well, hey, those two guys are almost 1/10 black themselves.
So,
I just have to tell you, just to interrupt you on that comment. How about Smoking Jim?
Hey, ratings are through the roof.
Oh, wait, Chip, I got to interrupt you on it since I went off the tangent here.
You had a chance. Didn't you?
No, he had a chance.
You had a chance.
My new friend Andy with WTAE, this will be a special event type of thing that they put up. And I said, Smoking Jim Frazier's right there. He's there. Tell him to come up. Smoking Jim says, I'll be there.
hey,
Don't worry about it. You can do it, Al.
Slipped out the
the
back corner.
question I want to have answered is, Paul Spatafor's son was fighting
Yeah.
as well as
Gino.
Draco's.
Yeah.
War Satyrs. How did the young men do?
Well, they didn't fight each other this time.
Okay.
And
Right.
both of them lost controversial decisions. I thought both of them. Well, I thought Rayco's son won, and I thought they put Spatafor's son in there against somebody 4 years older than him and 20 pounds heavier. But he fought his heart out. Yeah.
He's got the heart of a champion
Oh, yeah,
like
he's
his
good.
dad.
Yeah, he's
With-
good.
Without a doubt. His dad was in his corner.
I-
It was nice seeing the torch being passed.
How upset was Rayco?
Rayco was pretty upset, but
He didn't show it.
I tell you what,
He
like father, like
keeps-
son.
he
His
keeps
son got the same hairstyle as his daddy.
Yeah.
Didn't Rayco fight on the
well, you know
undercard
what?
of
Night
Vasquez?
before.
And if he
Yeah,
takes
the night
after his
before.
daddy, he'll come back with a vengeance too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, these two young men, just like the other fighters, had a lot of potential. There were some questions on some of the judging there and some of the results. But it was a great night, a great day of entertainment there. Smoking Jim walked me to my car, so I got out safe, even though I grew up in the Hill District. Not really. I was born there.
Were the street lights on?
No street lights were on.
I told you,
Then
man, they
Smoking
got out there
Jim-
before the sun went down.
Then Smoking Jim goes to me, hey, Al, can you drive me to my car? And on that happy note, I think we're just about out. I got John the Tiger Kiger telling me it's time. Georgia Ghost is, so we're winding it down. John in the control room, thank you very much for all your help. Dave Cable, thanks for the excellent job and all the graphics and everything you do. Thanks to everybody here, Zach, Smoking Jim, Chip. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. See you next week. See you up at Sip Sports Bar. Be safe out there. Let's go Pirates. Let's go Pens. And let's go MMA. Saturday night, Stage AE.